Caring for someone with dementia is one of the toughest journeys, but you don't have to do it alone. I'm Allison Schreier, and my experience caring for my husband inspired me to create Zinnia, a therapeutic streaming service designed to support people living with dementia and reduce caregiver stress. Our research-backed videos are engaging, easy to follow, and they help ease the daily challenges like agitation and anxiety so that you can focus on connection and joy. Available by subscription on mobile and TV apps, Zinnia makes every day a little bit easier. Go to zinniatv.com and sign up for a free trial today. Use the code RESOURCE for 15% off an annual Zinnia subscription.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to Alzheimer's Speaks Radio. I'm your host, Lori LeBay, and I'm so excited that you're joining us today. We are going to have a fascinating conversation, as usual, as we learn from people all around the world at all ages and stages of life. Stay tuned as we shift our dementia care from crisis to comfort.
Here we go. What you think about, you will bring about dementia change. We will.
Well, hi, everyone. I'm Lori LeBay, and welcome to Alzheimer's Speaks. This is a platform where we like to talk with people from all around the world at all different levels to hear what's going on in the dementia industry and how are we supporting people. And today we are going to be talking with Maude'S Awards and some of their recipient winners that just rolled out here. And I'm really excited to do that. But before I introduce you to the gang, I just like to remind people to please check out alzheimersspeaks.com. We have a ton of free educational resources that I would love you to tap into, pass along. That's what they're there for. And there's a variety of types of modalities that you can use. And again, all for free. Same with Dementia Map, which is a global resource directory that we're building. So with no further ado, let's go ahead and meet our guests. Well, ladies, I'm so excited to have you on the show today. It's always fun when Maude's Awards rolls out. I can hear the drum, in my head. So I'm going to start out by having each of you introduce yourself. And I'm going to start out with Marilyn because she's the king kahuna at Maude's Awards, being the executive director. So give us a little background on yourself and Maude's Awards.
Well, I am the executive director due to Richard Ferry, our founder's gracious invitation. And I've been doing this since 2019. And I also come from a family where a lot of people get Alzheimer's. And so my mom had it. She lived to 96. She lived an absolutely glorious life. She completely changed mine. It's the most wonderful thing I've ever done in my life. And so my life now revolves around bringing innovations to the attention of all sorts of people in living with dementia who are looking for them.
Wonderful. Thank you. Patti, you want to introduce yourself?
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you, Lori, for having me. And thank you, Marilyn, for all the beautiful work you do with Maude's Awards. I am Patti, and I am the programs lead at Lorenzo's house. But more importantly, I am the daughter of Linda, who walked with younger onset dementia. And it wasn't until I reached out personally as a daughter to Lorenzo's house and met Diana Shula-Kos, our founder, in a Zoom room, that I finally felt seen and understood. So it's my honor to be here and to walk alongside families affected by younger onset dementia every single day.
Fantastic. Thank you. Cherie, will you introduce yourself?
Absolutely. Thank you guys for having me today. I'm Cherie Macri. I'm the director of Encompass here at Masonicare, but I also oversee our living classroom, which is what won the Maude's Award this year. I have worked in the senior space since 2008. I'm an occupational therapist by trade, and my grandmother had dementia. So certainly touches my soul, and have had some beautiful interactions with clients with memory impairment.
Gosh, so everybody here has been touched. And it's kind of funny how once you're touched by this disease, how many of us kind of come into the industry and try to improve it. We see those holes and those gaps, and it's nice to see the collaborations and the recognitions that are happening with that. So I'm going to say congratulations to both of you, even though people don't know really what you won. We will get to that in a bit. But Marilyn, I'm going to go to you first and tell people a little bit about Maude'S Awards in the program, and we'll find out how many applicants and what a process it is to kind of scurry through them all and figure out who comes out, top dog on these things.
Well, thank you, Lori. It's wonderful to be here. It's so nice to be here every year with this wonderful news. We owe all of this to Richard Ferry. He's our founder. He created Maude'S Awards for his wife, Maude, who lived with dementia since 2013. When she was diagnosed, he had no idea what to do. And so he started reading and looking, anything he could do to find ways to bring happiness to her life. And he wasn't terribly successful. And so he developed Maude'S Awards, which he gives away $100,000 every year for innovations in 4 categories of care. And before I get to that, I have to say that everything he does is inspired and for Maude. And he describes her always as the wind beneath his wings. And he created Maude'S Awards. I'm so impressed by what he did, because he created it not only to create awards for innovations of care and to discover and celebrate those innovations, but more important, he wants to share them with everyone, not just looking for himself, but to share them with everyone. And so he's been doing this since 2019. He called me and asked me if I would be interested, and it was like, whoa, yeah, I think so. And so we've been doing this. This is our 6th year. He gives 3 $25,000 awards to organizations, and he gives $5,000 awards to individuals. And every year or so, he does honorable mention awards. And this year we have 2. And this year we had 190 applications. It was kind of insane. We actually added an advisory board member because they have to go through them all for like months, looking at them and evaluating them. So we have 6 board members now because we have so many applications. And so after 3.5 months of study, they narrowed this down to this wonderful group we have with us. 2 today, and then there are others that I can list if you like.
Well, we'll focus on the gals we have right now, and then
okay,
we'll definitely mention the others as we go. Gosh, 190 applicants. I was thinking, wasn't last year closer to like 80 or 120?
It was 130. It was 130 last year. When we started, it was under 100, and just the word grew, and we did our best to increase applications. We're still looking for more individual applicants. We have an abundance of it's really hard to go through all of the organizations that come our way. But it is 190 this year. It was kind of amazing.
Wow. Can you just highlight the categories for
Sure.
the business?
I can. We have 4. One of them is Making Connections, and that is the award that Cherie won. It is to create meaningful opportunities for people who are living with dementia to connect with the people and the world around them. And then the other big category is supporting care partners. And that is where Lorenzo's house comes in. And those are impactful education, training, or support for care partners for people who are living with dementia. And so that's the biggest category. And then we have these 2 other categories. One is cultivating health, and that is providing exceptional care or education that supports the long-term physical health of a person who's living with dementia. And then the 4th one is tricky. It's called Treating by Design. And this is significantly improving the living spaces or mobility of persons living with dementia. We haven't had a winner in this category yet. every year we get more applicants. So who knows, might happen.
Okay. Well, I'm going to start out with Patti first, with Lorenzo's house. I'm so glad that you joined them. They are lucky to have you, Patti. So tell Diana I say hi, and you guys are just doing amazing, amazing work. What made you guys decide to apply for the grant? Was there something that intrigued you?
Something that is really powerful about the work that we do at Lorenzo's house is we are constantly leaning in and listening to our community. And so one of the reasons why we decided to apply for the Maude'S Award this year is because of our youth are really our compass. And so as we have continued to lean in and listen to our young people, we have gone from just thinking about healing in community and providing this direct support for families. And we've really started to lean in and let our young people lead the way, and really think about how are we advocating for dementia justice, and how are we bringing together our sons, daughters, and children and allies in really meaningful ways. And so we decided to apply for the award this year because of the really beautiful work that our sons, daughters, and children are leading us towards.
Oh, that's nice to be heard, and to be able to pull in those intergenerational voices and insights, because they're so creative. And I think sometimes I'm 66, I spin in my own little world, and I don't know a lot that goes on sometimes with their sources and their insights and the way they look at things. And I think it's really easy for us to kind of do what we've always done, the same old way over and over. And I think that's one of the things that I love about Richard's program with Maude'S Awards is he's looking for those innovations and the creatives to really improve our dementia care culture. So good for you. Would you say that's kind of one of your primary things that differentiates you from other dementia support organizations?
I would say, we are this virtual global social impact organization that empowers the sons, daughters, children's, and families that are affected by younger onset dementia. So I think what we are bringing to this space is really a focus on those that are affected by younger onset dementia. There is a JAMA report that 4 million people worldwide are affected by younger onset dementia, but younger families are faced with so many unique challenges. And one of those is being undiagnosed or misdiagnosed or feeling unseen. And so we become the sanctuary, the safe space for younger families to find each other because they don't know where to go. They don't know where to turn. They often are on this multi-year, multi-diagnosis. So I think one of the things that really makes us so unique and different is that we are focused on a population that doesn't know where to go. I couldn't find another family that was younger walking this journey. Diana couldn't find another family that was younger walking this journey. Her beautiful husband was in his early 50s. She had a 8-year-old and a 13-year-old, and she didn't know another younger family. And so Lorenzo's house is this space for younger families to find each other.
Yeah, that set of population is really that donut hole, where it's just like you fall through and you're just free falling because there's no support. And it's almost like you've come in and put a trampoline to bounce them back up and give them hope and connect them to others. Because I can't tell you how many times I heard that in my support groups. It's like, there's nobody like us. There's nobody like us. Nobody understands that. They think we're crazy. It can't be this. It's only for older people. I mean, the list goes on, and we can't get support because we're too young. We're supposed to be able. So, I mean, there's just so much fear wrapped in that when somebody loses a job and you've lost an income, and how do you replace that? And how do you maintain the family structure and still support your kids and be able to be there for them? Because caregiving can stretch us no matter what it is. I don't care if it's cancer or heart, whatever. But when you are stretched so thin and there aren't supports to hold you up, I think of like breast cancer. I mean, I go in for a mammogram and I've not had breast cancer. I've had lumps, but just the approach and, they're using, the lavender towels and there's this calmness that, I mean, there's just this whole thing in the medical field when you go to an appointment that's totally different from any other appointments. And that's not what's happening, let alone being connected to resources. What kind of response are you getting from the kids?
Yeah, so we are really learning so much from our young people, right? One of the things that I said that makes us so unique is that we're leaning in and listening to our community, especially the young people. And we really believe that we're elevating their wisdom, right? The sons, daughters, and children of younger onset dementia, like myself, should be able to get their unique perspectives and voices out there. So we're elevating that through podcasts and webinars and on stages. And so what we have really learned from our sons and daughters and children is really that they want this place to heal in community and to meet others who understand, right? And they do that through our match and our clubs and our summit, but they're also looking for a place to really fight back, right? What happened to their family feels unfair. And so we have launched this next gen younger onset dementia movement as this global advocacy initiative. And it becomes this space where our sons, daughters, children, and allies are united to really begin to build this movement that normalizes conversations about younger onset dementia. It becomes this space to really build a more younger onset dementia informed society. I mean, something that you mentioned was, there's so many unique challenges for younger families. They don't know where to go. But one of the biggest challenges is the stigma. They feel like they don't have a place to go. They're told that they're too young to be experiencing dementia. And so the stigma is so thick for younger families. So this next gen YOD movement becomes the space where our sons, daughters, and children are able to be with others who understand. They are able to be with like-minded individuals who want to fight back. And so the response from our young people has been tremendous because they feel like they have a place to not only share their stories and where their stories have power and understanding, but they also have this opportunity to fight back, ultimately really changing the way society views and responds to their family, which is incredible. When you have that opportunity and that power to really raise awareness, it changes everything for these families.
Well, and I like just the term dementia justice and teaching people how to be advocates and how do you deal with the emotions so they can maintain some kind of balance. I mean, because the emotional damage can be so significant, and that's not even talked about to the family in and of itself. Now, one of the things I have to correct myself on, because I'm like, what are the kids thinking? And it's like, I'm old, so everybody's a kid to me, but I know you have a wide range. So why don't you define the ages that serve? Because I know a lot of them are young adults as well.
For sure. So yeah, we serve young people. We serve families. We serve children as young as 4. So in our clubs, which are our virtual support groups, but given our focus on children, are for the sons, daughters, and children. So we have our light clubs, which are our virtual support group. So we have a 4 to 7-year-old group, an 8 to 12-year-old children's group where we're using play and mindfulness. We have a 13 to 17-year-old group for our teens where we're really talking about how do we navigate those moments of stigma? How do we begin to tell one friend about our parents' condition? How do we begin to talk to our basketball coach about our dad's brain condition so that they can feel more seen and supported? And then we have our young adult spaces. So for those 18 to 40 plus, we say. In addition, we have our virtual youth summit that takes place every June. Next year, it'll take place on June 12th and 13th. And it is for those ages 4 to 40 plus who had a parent who is either currently living with younger onset dementia or those whose person has passed. And it's really this beautiful opportunity to have our sons, daughters, and children lead and be partnered with experts in the field to really build out sessions that are responsive to their unique challenges and unique needs. So we serve those sons, daughters, and children ages 4 to 40 plus, but we also have support spaces for the care partners. We have a bright brunch for female care partners, spouses, or those that are caring for a brother or sister. We also have a light lounge for our male care partners. And we also have grief spaces called Shine On for both children, teens, young adults, and care partners. So we serve both the children, teens, and young adults and the care partners as well.
Okay, that's incredible. Absolutely incredible. It's been fun to see how much you guys have grown over the years since this all started with Dana's vision and seeing her kids step into space and just, how she's dealt with the passing of her own. She hasn't walked away like a lot of people do because she's built a community to make a difference. How can people get involved with Lorenzo's house if they're like, hey, I'm one of them, I gotta connect on a group level, or I want to donate, or I want to volunteer, or what do they do?
Yeah, for sure. So always connect us to sons, daughters, and families of younger onset dementia. We meet every single family in a Zoom room. We will connect and make sure that they have access to both our resources and the support. So if you are a family that is listening and is walking to this, reach out. Please go to our website. Please reach out to us at info@lorenzoshouse.org. We will respond and connect with every single family. It's also so powerful to collaborate with people like you, right? Let's get creative together. Let's reach more partners and allies and friends. In our next gen movement, this is that first time we are opening our doors for allies to walk alongside. And so if you are interested in becoming an ally, please go to our website. Please join us. We welcome all allies. Our only expectation is that you care. Can follow us on social media and begin to expand our reach. As you said, Lori, donating to our mission is so important. Every dollar matters and allows us to continue to offer free virtual programming for families everywhere. Volunteer with us. We have spaces for ambassadors to walk alongside with us. We have a 14-minute short film where we will encourage people to host a screening and use that to be a catalyst for conversation. We have a newsletter. You can sign up for our newsletter. And then we're also hosting youth-led stigma seminars that have been built out by our young people. So really this opportunity to begin to dismantle stigma in your own community. So there are tons of ways to collaborate and connect with us. Please share this with any family. We believe our audacious goal is to reach every family affected by younger onset dementia. So through podcasts like this with you, Lori, that's such a gift for us to help to reach families, and Marilyn and Maude'S Awards for really seeing Lorenzo's house. It helps us to really continue to meet families and connect with every family. So thank you so much for this opportunity and for seeing Lorenzo's house.
Caring for someone with dementia is one of the toughest journeys, but you don't have to do it alone. I'm Allison Schreier, and my experience caring for my husband inspired me to create Zinnia, a therapeutic streaming service designed to support people living with dementia and reduce caregiver stress. Zinnia offers research-backed videos intentionally created for people with dementia, engaging, calming, and easy to follow. Whether you need to ease agitation, create moments of joy, or make daily routines smoother, Zinnia is here to help. Family and professional caregivers use our content to turn challenges into opportunities for connection. Accessible by subscription on mobile devices and connected TVs, Zinnia is simple to use whenever you need it. Because when caregiving feels easier, life feels better. Go to zinniatv.com and sign up for a free trial today. Use the code RESOURCE for 15% off an annual Zinnia subscription.
I want you, if you don't mind, and maybe I missed it, can you define being an ally? Is that professionals or can family members do that? What is that?
That is such a great question. An ally is any person that cares about younger onset dementia. So that could be your best friend That could be a researcher. That could be a politician. That could be you, Lori. You are an ally. You are someone that is willing to lean in and listen and elevate the voices of sons, daughters, and children to really help us to build our movement. And so anyone can be an ally, and we welcome all to be an ally. Our expectation is that you care. And so that is what being an ally means to us.
Okay, that's great, because sometimes people have it a little bit more defined, and I thought it would be a good time to just take that opportunity and clarify that. So thank you so much for sharing all that and what you're doing. It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. So kudos to you, and I definitely see how you won your Maude'S Awards for sure. Cherie, I want to ask you what drew you into applying for the Maude'S Awards too.
Yeah, absolutely. So we had exponential growth here at Masonic this past year. We had 3 residential communities, and at the beginning of this year, we grew to 7. So very large, quick growth for us. The Students in Residence program has been something that has been around since 2016, couple pause years because of COVID, but I started overseeing this program last year. And the growth within the organization allowed us to expand the program this year. And so while I was looking at opportunities of how I could figure out how to expand the program, I came across Maude'S Awards, and it just hit so perfectly for the work that we were doing. And so quickly put in that application because I see that there's such beauty in the other organizations and the other people who've won it in the past. I was able to download and look through the Innovators book, and it was just so inspiring. And it was such a privilege to be able to win this award this year for the Making Connections component of the award.
Well, that's exciting. Can you tell us a little bit about, what your approach is and what do people do? And I would imagine there's stereotypes. I know when I was younger and worked with developmentally disabled, people were like, what's going on there? In memory care, it was pretty much the same thing too, because people were they were so, they heard one story, and, like Patti said, the stigmas are so strong, so how do you attract the younger folks to come and be part of these programs? And then of course I'm going to want to hear what their response is too, because once you turn that corner, there's kind of no going back. You just see things in a different light.
So we have 2 intergenerational programs that both sit under, we call it the Living Classroom by Masonic. There's the Students in Residence, and then there's the Legacy class that we partner with Quinnipiac University on. So highlighting for college age students is where our focus is presently. There was an article, I believe it was this past August, so just last month. I can't believe we're already the end of September. From McKnight Senior Living, and it highlighted that 70% of senior living operators are struggling to find staff. And that is just such a significant statistic to me, because the senior space is such a beautiful space, such a vibrant, these residents have so much to give and for us to receive. And that was so shocking to me. And so I think it's such an important piece to be able to bring in those college age students who are still trying to figure out their path into this space, to be able to see what it has to offer. I think there's so many stigmas associated with what senior living is, right? If you ask somebody out on the street, they're going to tell you they're thinking of a nursing home. They're thinking of the devices over people, right? They're thinking of the canes, the walkers, and all of those things. Some of that ageist thinking, instead of thinking about the vibrancy of senior living. And so both of these programs offer an opportunity for students to spend time, significant time. Our Students in Residence program, those students live with us for the full academic year. So they are here outside of coursework and obviously personal time, living with us, residing, right next door to residents, having meal times with our residents. And then the Legacy class, they're coming on site for 14 weeks. They are interviewing our residents. They are spending dedicated time with them. And that program, it's a really beautiful program, because at the end of the day, what they hand off to the families is the legacy of that person. It's not the mile markers in their life. It is not that I got married here, I had my first baby here, I had bought my first house here. That's fine if it's in those books that they turn over to family, but we want to capture all of the meat in the middle. What are the favorite things of that resident? What did they enjoy doing? What memories do they have to share with us? And so the students really take a really interesting approach in trying to gather that information. For those students, a lot of the times, this is their first exposure to cognitive impairment. They might have had a grandparent or a grandparent's friend that had some memory difficulties, but never where they had to spend a dedicated amount of time trying to create something from the exposure that they've had with that resident. And so we go back and forth during the semester. They have structured classes, and then they have their time with the resident. And you hear these students who are just eyes open now to what senior living looks like, what cognitive impairment can look like. And really, I've seen students who came in telling me, I'm going to work in pediatrics. I know that that's where I want to be. I don't want to work in the field of geriatrics. And by week 2 or week 3, I recently received an email saying, this is where I want to be. I love this. The smiles that I'm able to make on people's faces mean everything to me. And so for me as an employee, making those connections from a student perspective to a resident perspective, and then hearing from the residents the excitement on the days that they know that their students are going to be there, or that the students are going to run activities. They might not remember their name, but they certainly remember the feeling that those students give them in the time that they're there with them.
Well, and I think one of the things, we talk about, with dementia, feelings are more important than facts. But I think it probably teaches the kids feelings are critically important to our communication. And, and that is not something we teach, I don't think, very well in schools. And to me, that is a critical base to get back to. And one of the things, and I don't know if you hear of this, but I hear so many times our younger generations go, they're so respectful. They really listen, because a lot of times as parents or older adults, we're multitasking and we're kind of doing this and we're hearing, but we're not really paying attention or seeing the effect that they have as one person and how they can light somebody up by paying attention to them. To me, that's I'd say kind of a lost art that we have to teach. Again,
to be able to see the sharing too that can be done between generations. For instance, we had a resident who absolutely loves photography with an old style camera. And then we have a student who doesn't have any idea how to use that camera, but certainly can use a phone to take wonderful photos. And so just that sharing of knowledge between the two generations, amazing that we are all human at heart. We have likes and interests that are more commingled than sometimes we think between generations.
Exactly. Can you talk a little bit more about the key elements of your students in residence program? I just think that is a brilliant program, and I would love to see that all over, because I think it helps out on so many levels. From staffing, which is always critical to the community, but to those interactions, to breaking the stigmas, and to changing the way we view one another, and that ripple effect. And I think when people find something that's different, it ignites conversation. Even if someone says, where do you live? Oh, I live here. What? You live there? Why would you live there? It opens up that whole door of, no, it's really cool, and this is what I get out of this. And so it's almost like a film. How I look at a film production. People go and think, I'm just going to go see a movie, and then they're like, holy cow, I was really impacted by that. I had no idea, because they see that visual, and the kids, the students are really living through this and seeing the good, the bad, and the ugly, and being able to balance that out and to see, and I might be wrong, so please correct me, but to see how little effort it takes on our part to bring joy to another.
Yes. Yeah, so let me tell you a little bit about the structure of the program, because like you said, we would love to see this all over the place. I think we have a really good model, and I'm happy to share our model with anybody who has interest, because if we could see this across the country, I think the studies that we could do on this would be absolutely amazing. So how we have it structured is the students, they have a full application process. Through the application process, we want to make sure that students are not doing this just for free room and board, because that is one of the perks of this program. So they do get to reside for us with no cost involved during that academic year. So August to May, there is a meal plan included. But in exchange for room and board and the meal plan, they do have a volunteerism that they have to do within our community. So it's 8 hours a week in our community, and it's split. We do have a locked memory care unit on all 3 sites that we have students at. So it is split between our memory care unit and our assisted living or independent living, which certainly doesn't mean that there's not memory issues on those sides as well. But so they're exposed to the full gamut, independent all the way through our memory care assisted living. 8 hours a week of that dedicated activity. And so those are things that those students are curating specifically for the residents. So they are getting to know the residents, what they're looking for. Do they want a knitting and crocheting group that's consistent? Do they want to learn a new game? Whatever the residents in that community. So very, very community specific. They also have to do a minimum of 2 meals a week. And what we see is that the students do much greater than 2 meals a week with our residents. Obviously, meal times are very social times. And so this is an opportunity for our students to kind of interject themselves into the cloth of the community, really get to know our residents. So 2 meals a week. They also have to attend 2 community activities a month. And so those community activities are things that the students are not planning. So no thought has to go in on their mind. They just look and see something on the calendar that they think would be interesting to partake in. So it can be a cornhole tournament, it can be a music group, whatever they want to partake in, and they are partaking in it just like a resident would. So really showing that they're on level with the residents in those activities. They also have a component of, we call it learning with leadership. And so each month they are able to select through a process what leader within the organization they want to spend dedicated time with. And so the 5 students meet with 1 leader a month and get to ask them whatever questions about the senior space that they want. We met with our CEO just last month. The students were able to ask him questions like, what would happen if another pandemic hit us? Are you prepared? So it doesn't have to be specific to the recreation or volunteerism that they're doing. They can ask any questions really to learn this space. They can meet with HR and ask them to review their resume if they want. So really offers them an opportunity to not only learn about the residents, but to also learn about this space in general, which I think is really cool. Really a unique opportunity for them.
Well, I love all the different touch points, and none of them are a ton of time. I mean, and such a variety. I mean, it really gives them a nice perspective with that, which I think is really cool. What is your vision for intergenerational engagement through your programs like this? Are you looking at expanding and doing some other things as well, or?
We are. We have a couple of things in the work, which we're not ready to announce yet, but we are looking to expand. We are also looking at, sharing our model with other organizations. It takes a couple really important things to make a program like this. And the first is really the partnerships with the universities. You really do, as a healthcare organization, need a university or a college that is going to help you with the selection of the students, help promote the program itself. They have to understand the value to their students. This is an opportunity for experiential learning, like you won't see other places. You also need a really robust selection process, really, like I said, to weed out those students who are doing it for just a housing purpose and aren't going to get the same benefit, which means our residents won't get the same benefit from them. We also put together pre-work, and I think that this is really important. We started doing this just this past year, but work to do over the summer. So once you are selected for the program, it's not just you walk in day 1 and you have no knowledge. We put together a whole packet. It's about 30 hours worth of work, so dedicated enough over the summer months, really to give a stable knowledge base so that when the student, because they are on their own within the communities, we are there for support, but they are running activities on their own, that they don't feel like they do not have the tools in their back pocket to be able to, manage a situation with a resident that might not be the prettiest situation. Somebody might be sundowning, somebody might be agitated. When they're trying to run a program, how are they going to manage through that? So we want to give all of the students a stable base there to make sure that they can appreciate and be able to redirect and work through those difficult issues while still maintaining the group for the rest of the clients that are there. They get hospitality training and customer service training, but they also do introspective work. So emotional intelligence work, conflict management assessments. We want them to well understand themselves as well. Also training on body language and communication, because we know that that's so important. A resident may not be able to verbalize why they're frustrated if they need to use the bathroom. And so to watch for cues. So really establishing that base of knowledge for them, we feel is so important. But what I would love to see is I would love to see 5 other communities in my area that also offer this.
Yeah, it is amazing. And, just the things with the hospitality, the customer service, the emotional intelligence. I mean, there's just so much you are offering, these young adults to better prepare them for the world, no matter what direction they go off in. I mean, those are really important skills again that I think sometimes are overlooked, because we get so focused and we're not looking at big picture and whole person type situations. Many times it's so many businesses are just stamping out the fires as they come up instead of trying to figure out how to avoid them in the first place. Mm-hmm. and bring that calm. Oh, that is just so cool. What kind of response are you getting from your clients with cognitive impairment?
So they love having the students there. The students bring just a different view. I walked in, this was a few months ago, on a student-resident interaction. The resident was talking about they lived in Worcester their whole life, and the student quickly pulled up on her laptop pictures of Worcester, and just the beauty of that student thinking through to do that and being able to show old photos, and the resident saying, "Oh, I was on the corner of that street. I walked by that to get to my school." It was top notch. I can't even express to you how heartwarming that was. And it felt so natural. Mm-hmm. So natural. So the residents look forward to them. Students had kind of camped in one location at one point, doing notes and things like that. And you'd see the residents pop around the corner just to check, are they there for the day yet? Have they stopped in? And so I actually worry about the summers where we don't have students, where the residents might be looking for that connection. And so always looking to expand, but yeah, beautiful connections that are made. I do want to mention one thing, Lori. One of the things we notice is that our residents don't see themselves always as old, right? Mm-hmm. They don't see themselves as the age that they are. And so one of the things that I've seen on multiple occasions is that the residents with cognitive impairment will gravitate towards the students because they relate better to them than they do to the peers that they are living with. So they don't want to attend the exercise with the old people, but they will come and do an exercise with the young people. And if you ask them how old they are, they might tell you that they're 18 or that they're 21. And so those students are the same or similar age as to where they may see themselves for the day. So I think just offering them a different view, a different person, a different group to be around is so impactful with that intergenerational approach.
Caring for someone with dementia is one of the toughest journeys, but you don't have to do it alone. I'm Allison Schreier, and my experience caring for my husband inspired me to create Zinnia, a therapeutic streaming service designed to support people living with dementia and reduce caregiver stress. Zinnia offers research-backed videos intentionally created for people with dementia, engaging, calming, and easy to follow. Whether you need to ease agitation, create moments of joy, or make daily routines smoother, Zinnia is here to help. Family and professional caregivers use our content to turn challenges into opportunities for connection. Accessible by subscription on mobile devices and connected TVs, Zinnia is simple to use whenever you need it. Because when caregiving feels easier, life feels better. Go to zinniatv.com and sign up for a free trial today. Use the code RESOURCE for 15% off an annual Zinnia subscription.
Well, and I think just the energy and the insights and the attitudes, I mean, all of that we like it or not, it's different with all of our different generations, and so they like being lifted up, just like when a little child walks into the room, everybody perks up, and what are they going to do? And it's kind of the same with teenagers and young adults, because it's just another phase of what are they going to do? They've got so many choices, to be able to make, and I think as we get older, we see that more. We see, wow, look at all the possibilities they have in front of us, where if we're looking at our age, we might not feel like we have all of those possibilities before us. But boy, those were cool times when I did. And I've got some stories to tell them, in terms of, if it's a first kiss or a first job or whatever it might be. They just light up with that. And I think it's that piece of feeling heard and seen and a part of a community again, where so often I think with our stigmas, people get brushed off, and sometimes I think we do it to ourselves. We just assume we're too old and they don't want us, and so we kind of sit like a flower on the side, when that may or may not be true depending on the group that you're interacting with. But that goes away. So as far as stereotypes and empathy, I would think that you see a big change from when they come in to when they leave in terms of what their thoughts are.
Yes, absolutely. You see so many ageist things nowadays, the 100 days of school, where kids are dressing up in wigs and overcoats and with a cane. And we hope to break that. We hope that these two programs, that they really do trudge forward in showing that there's beauty in this space, and that isn't, you should see the people more than the devices and the tools that they're using. That is to support their life. It is not their life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know I used to do a program for junior high and high school kids, and it was all about ageism and stuff. And it was so funny. We'd have them. It was kind of like a virtual dementia before virtual dementia. We'd have them do different exercises, and I would have on the whiteboard, describe an elderly person. And you can do this with dementia as well. Just describe it and what they come up with, and then I would say, now I want you to pretend you're that older person and describe your age group. Mm-hmm. What do they think of you? And they come up with this list, and they don't, by the end, they don't agree with either side, because they know everything that older person thinks about them is not correct. And then you go back to the other side and they're like, wow. And it just really hits those stereotypes, wide open in terms of looking at things differently. And I love the empathy piece. I think that is a skill that, has kind of slid away and needs to be taught. I think we thumb it too much with our communications and our texts. And, I love this interaction that you're doing there. How do you see this helping them prepare for their careers, wherever they go, senior space or not?
I think they're learning so much about techniques, how to pause, how to be patient, how to actively listen. So many things that are translatable, even if the senior space is not where they end up. So many skills that they will have now gained through this experience. Like I had mentioned, body language, how to read somebody's body language. What does it mean to engage somebody? How to find the just right challenge for someone. So I'm a therapist by trade. Finding the just right challenge is applicable outside of cognitive impairment as well, right? Physically, for somebody who's gone through, turmoil as well. So I think they come out of this experience with so many tools in their toolkit to apply to their healthcare management job, their business degree, their geriatric law, or wherever they decide to go. We have them do vlogs on a weekly basis too. I did forget to mention that. So they submit vlogs. So we get to see the transformation as it happens, which I just think is the neatest thing. And at the end of the experience, we put together a start to finish, with little clips here and there of the experiences and the exposure that they have highlighted in their vlogs. The vlog is only a 1 minute vlog every week to talk about highs and lows, because we know that there are lows too, right? We would be silly and we'd be remiss if we didn't, understand that there were going to be times that were challenging for them. Something happened, a resident passed away, a program that they had spent a ton of time planning completely flopped. Those things happen. But the vlog allows them to kind of, get that out, share that with us, and then move on from it. When they have those tricky things, it also allows us to provide support to them too. So if they are really struggling, we can be there. We can, alert the university partner, and we can help support them through this process, because they do have academics to hold up during this time as well. They have to maintain a 3.0. They have to remain in good standing with the university full-time as a student. So we want to make sure that they are fully supported through this process. But we certainly see little gems of knowledge that they have gained throughout the experience, and also beautiful moments that they have shared with our residents.
Well, and I love capturing those flops, because we all have them. For me, I've kicked the word failure to the side, and they're a lesson. What's in the lesson here, and how do we move forward? And instead of getting that inner critic to be yelling and screaming in their heads, which I think oftentimes happens when we don't feel like we don't fit in. And so from a mental health aspect, I think that's amazing. Plus, you're also getting them to realize those moments of joy that they might not have even realized were moments of joy until they hear it again. It was something that happened during the week, because, when we're busy, we sometimes overlook those things. We can say it by task, but then all of a sudden we hear the inflection in our voice and the way we're saying it, or the way someone else is reacting to it. It was like, it takes that pause that you were saying to really reflect on it, which I think is really, really cool on that. And I love the whole sensory piece too. I think that is a critical piece that so many are missing. I know right now a sensory care plan for people that can be used for families or professionals. And it's so simple, because like what you're doing, it can be used for everything. It's just getting people more in tune with how we treat one another and how we treat ourselves, and very easy little tweaks that sometimes are overlooked, or we don't consider that could be a trigger for them or for us. It just changes that whole mindset. I just think this is so cool, what you're doing. Anything that we didn't cover that we should have covered, Sheree?
One more thing that I would just love to mention is the social isolation piece.
Mm-hmm.
So college students, they are socially isolated in some manner, right? They might be moved away from home, away from their traditional friends group, maybe not doing the sports that they were doing when they were younger. And then we have our geriatric population, socially isolated because they have kids that are maybe in the sandwich generation and are just pulled in too many different directions. Family might not live close by to our community and might not be able to spend as much time. So social isolation in both ways. And so this is just a nice opportunity to be able to bring the students and the residents together to help support each other in that way. Increased socialization. We know that for people who don't have cognitive impairment, so increased socialization can help prevent or delay dementia. So for those on our IL or AL side, we're benefiting them as well. But thinking about, social isolation is such a hot topic, but it's always a hot topic for our older adults, and it is for our younger folks as well in some fashions.
Oh yeah, the numbers are huge on that. And I think, again, it gets back to that whole power of one. We can do a heck of a lot more and have a bigger effect than we ever imagined if we slow down and just pay attention to how we're doing things and how people are reacting to us. How do people get involved? Maybe there's a student listening that's like, I got to get a hold of these guys and see what I can do. Do they go through their university? Do they reach out to you? What is the process for that?
So we are currently partnered with 3 universities. We are partnered with Quinnipiac, University of Hartford, and University of New Haven. But we are always willing to expand our options. So if there is a university partner that is looking to partner with us, I would love for them to contact me. Students, I would encourage them to reach out to me too, across the country even, because if that is something that I can help facilitate within the university or college that they are at, I'm happy to do that as well. So I have a LinkedIn, that you can certainly email me, call me. I'm happy to discuss our program if it benefits, a greater population.
Fantastic. And we'll have all that information in the show notes. Marilyn, I want to go back to you in terms of wrapping up. Do you want to give a shout out to the third organization that won and then the individuals as well?
Sure. And I just have to say that before I even start with that, I love this time of year. It's so inspiring. It's so cool to hear all of these programs. It just makes my heart sing. So the other organization is Dementia Support Northwest, and they're in Bellingham, and they've actually created an entire entity in a mall where people can come for respite and programs. It's really cool. The individuals, Nancy Treaster, who has a fabulous blog for care partners to learn everything they need to know. Alexis Baker, who is with Bridgetown Music Therapy, Joe Hausch, who is with Fotavia, and Lori Scherer, who is a person who is living with dementia and is now working with her own organization called Dementia Days, spelled with a Z, and Dementia Action Alliance. And then we have two honorable mentions, Dementia Spring, and they're in Louisville, Kentucky, and Prairie Connect, and they're in Kansas. And they're all fabulous. And you can find out about all of these organizations in the handbook that we print every year, with plus information on 62 other organizations and individuals. And that will be available in November. And you can find out how to get one for free, either ask us to send you a booklet or download one, and that will be on our website in November.
Wonderful. Well, as always, it's just a thrill to hear all what you're doing and to help raise your voice and push it out because it's absolutely incredible. So cheers to all of you, and have an amazing year. You know, one thing we didn't mention, Marilyn, is what are their awards? I don't think we mentioned that in the beginning.
So they get a fabulous Crystal Award because Richard likes to do that. I hope you've received yours. And your organizations get $25,000. Individuals get $5,000, and honorable mentions get $2,500, plus our undying gratitude.
Okay. And then when do you start taking applications for next year?
They will start in mid-March of next year. And there'll be information on our website. If you sign up for our newsletter, you'll be getting advance notice. And applying is really simple. There are only about 8 questions.
Okay. Well, and I'll try to push that out too, so we can help with that. And again, you said you're looking for more individuals. You've got lots of organizations, and not that you
lots of organizations. We are always looking for more individuals.
Okay.
Because so many people don't think that what they're doing is all that great. So it's like, if you're doing something that is making a difference in the lives of people who are living with dementia, apply. You might be surprised.
Well, thanks again, ladies, and thanks to our audience. I just want to wrap up with asking our audience to be a giver of hope. Like, click, and share, not because I'm, tracking the ticks. That's not me. I want this information to be pushed out to people who need it. And there's a lot of people in your circle of friends and colleagues on Facebook and Twitter and LinkedIn that might need this information. And the more information we can push out, the easier it is for people to just click on that button when the time is right for them. So help give hope, share the information, and know that it will be much appreciated by oh so many people. So in wrapping up, I just want to say thank you to everyone for being part of our community and sharing this excitement and celebrating the work that people are doing, the creativity that is happening, and the multiple effects that we each have on one another. I think both of these programs have highlighted that. And of course, Maude'S Awards as well, because, they're at the root of this, raising voices. So thank you so much. Always want to remind you to check out Alzheimer's Speaks and all of our free educational resources, as well as Dementia Map, our global resource directory. So thanks, everybody. Have a blessed week, and we will see you next time.
Thank you. You too.
Caring for someone with dementia is one of the toughest journeys, but you don't have to do it alone. I'm Allison Schreier. And my experience caring for my husband inspired me to create Zinnia, a therapeutic streaming service designed to support people living with dementia and reduce caregiver stress. Zinnia offers research-backed videos intentionally created for people with dementia, engaging, calming, and easy to follow. Whether you need to ease agitation, create moments of joy, or make daily routines smoother, Zinnia is here to help. Family and professional caregivers use our content to turn challenges into opportunities for connection. Accessible by subscription on mobile devices and connected TVs, Zinnia is simple to use whenever you need it. Because when caregiving feels easier, life feels better. Go to zinniatv.com and sign up for a free trial today. Use the code RESOURCE for 15% off an annual Zinnia subscription.